I'm just some mook that plays too many video games. You don't got to worry about my resume. All you got to know is I used to play a lot of Gangplank. Now I play a lot of fighting games. It's 2025 pretty soon. I played way too many games in the past 4 years or so. I'm talking about, I have about 650 games in the Steam library, maybe like 100 in the console library. It's just too many. It's just too goddamn many. So like most people, I want to go through the backlog. I've been doing so about 100 games a year for the last couple years. But the last 2 years, I was especially cutthroat about it to get that backlog as small as I can before 2025. But I think there's a lot of games that either went under the radar or need a little bit of a championing. So I'm going to spread the word about a couple games. You probably know about some of these right now that are really, really good. Baldur's Gate 3. You can get the latest Call of Duty is actually pretty good for a change. Black Ops, the Elden Ring. But what I'm doing here today is we're giving you the 30 games that made 2024 worth living. And they're all about $35 or less currently, as of the current Steam sale. And most of them are under that price tag, even when they're not on sale. So a good chunk of those games are on, or even if they're not on sale, and you're watching this video later, God bless my single-digit viewers, I love you. If you're watching this on sale, and you're just looking for something to buy, you're probably going to find this game for cheap, even if it's not, you know, the cheapest game base price. Might be a $70 game, like the first one we're going to talk about, which is this right here. Tekken 8. This game made life worth living because, sadly, the 3D fighting game genre is dead. It's very dead. Mortal Kombat had a couple of 3D fighting games back in the PS2 era. Nobody liked those. Those were gone. Well, some people liked them. Ketchup and Mustard probably liked them. DOA is DOA. We had Soul Calibur die a very, very sad death during COVID. And then we had Virtua Fighter, and it's just a zombie game. It's just Virtua Fighter 5 has just been kind of sitting there in the background for a good 15 years, I want to say. And now we finally got word that Virtua Fighter 6 is in development and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo, or whatever they're calling the latest edition of it. It's got to be the 20th edition. I don't even know. They're pulling a Street Fighter 2. With those games coming out, Tekken 8, I would say, is better than basically every other 2D fighting game I've played, save for Granblue, in the sense that the gameplay is extremely tight, the move lists are huge, and as a base roster, it just blows the other games out of the roster for the money. Buying this game gets you 32 characters. And so far, the first season DLC hasn't really been worth it. So you can usually find a character that you really like in the base roster. All you need is one or two characters that you enjoy playing to get a lot of fun out of this game. Because no matter what character you pick, even though some characters are a little more roulette style, like Kazuya, Eddie, Lydia, they're kind of stance mix. Some characters kind of have canned mix-ups going on. A lot of this game has canned mix-ups going on. Even with all the negatives about this game, is just such a joy to listen to the music, just mash some buttons. It's still a very, very good legacy game. Defense is just that much tougher just because of how offensively oriented it is. The only thing that really sucks about it is the price point, so I'm just here to tell you, if this is on sale, it is definitely worth your time. If it's not on sale, don't do it, because they have been screwing over the customers with the horrible monetization for the entirety of this game's lifespan since the 2-month grace period when it came out. They introduced battle passes, Tekken coins. They've been very, very stingy with their DLC. They charged extra for, that was the big fiasco, they charged $5 extra for Heihachi stage instead of packaging it with the DLC. A lot of negatives with this game. But still very fun to play. And the improvements make it better than 7. So I would be some kind of hypocrite to completely devote 19,000 hours, 1,900 hours like I did to Tekken 7, and then turn around and say 8 is worse just because I'm not a big fan of the balancing, even though it's largely still Tekken. The only thing that's bad about this game is if you're not a fan of fighting games, this isn't going to change your mind. You're still going to have to learn a lot of craziness. But the good thing about this is that this is the easiest game to pick up than any Tekken. I've heard so many people that have never played Tekken love Tekken 8. They say, it's my first Tekken, I love it, I'm having such a good time, and I think that's part of the game design. It's easier to get away with just playing in a certain way or just using the big moves and abusing the mechanics, and that makes it really, really good for new players. So I would say this game did a lot that was very, very good. The new training mode is fantastic, and it controls very well. A lot of characters look great. The graphics are good. The customization, even though I hate the battle passes, is very fun. I've got a lot of creativity out of the customization, but for the most part, this is only worth it if it's on sale. Heavily recommended if it's on sale. Don't get annoyed at Namco by paying $110 for the Ultimate Edition like I did, and then get mad that they didn't give out a $5 stage for free to at least the Ultimate Edition people. That's why I bought the Ultimate Edition, so I would get all that DLC. Honestly, the training mode in T8 is insane compared to all of the training modes, yes, which is why I've warmed back up to Tekken. Compared to other fighting games, Tekken 8 is pretty damn good. I think it's a lot better than Strive, and I think it's a lot better than Street Fighter 6. But that's just because the game gives you more defensive agency, which means you have more of a say in your demise. And legacy skill still matters very much in Tekken 8, where it doesn't matter as much in other games that are currently circulating. So this is Granblue versus Rising, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you are a person who barely likes fighting games or doesn't really want to play fighting games because there's too much bullshit or it's too hard or this or that or any other nitpick you have, this game is underrated. A lot of the nitpicks people have about this game, I find completely asinine. They say, oh, I don't like specials having a cooldown. It makes complete sense when they're so easy to use, and that's just the nature of a lot of these games these days. These games are balanced around cooldowns and certain moves not being abusable to that point. But let me say some good things about this game. Amazing roster. Free-to-play version. You can go play this right now without spending a dime, and you'll get that character right in the front. Gran, he's basically Ryu. You can have a good time just playing Gran, trust me. He's Ryu, he's got a big boot move, he's fun. Go play him, you'll have a good time for free. That alone is so impressive. But this is a re-release of a game that really sucked during COVID because no rollback netcode, a lot of issues with it. The roster wasn't as good as it was. The balance was a little off. Now they've drastically made it much better in the newer season. And not only that, there's a lot of really good DLC characters. And on top of everything, just the pacing of the game feels good. I've heard a lot of complaints, not in nitpicks. I wish I could more accurately fight back against those nitpicks because the moment-to-moment gameplay with this game is fantastic and the roster is such a goddamn boost. It's gotten so much better with the DLC. Most of the DLC characters are cool as hell. Yeah, Vikala, the rat. The rat is... I hate those kind of characters. I'm not a big VTuber guy. I'm not a big, Miku, whatever. The Vocaloid nonsense is going on in Japan. You know, idols doing all the dancing and the pop singing. I'm not into that stuff at all. Even I said this character rules when I saw the animations and everything for them. But it's not just them, it's the other DLC characters. I like Sora's. He was a DLC character in the first game. The gameplay is very good. Easy to pick up. Free-to-play version of the game. Decent single player. Like, you can do a little quest mode. If you like the gacha mechanics, if you like Granblue, the gacha game, congratulations. There's a bunch of mechanics from it. And the roster, much like Tekken 8, is one of its biggest strengths. It's just really easy to find somebody among all these characters that you really like and have fun mashing in this game. For this game, for me, it was Sora's. I like Sora's because it's basically Paul Phoenix, but the gimmick is that he's like a pervert that strikes out with the ladies. So he's also basically Brad from Virtua Fighter. I guess that's the strategy. But the simplicity of the gameplay, easy to pick up. It has way less bullshit than a lot of other fighting games these days, and it looks great. It just looks fantastic in motion. It looks better than Street Fighter 6, if I'm really honest. Not just looks, but music is fantastic. It's very orchestral. It's got that Soul Calibur 2 vibe a little bit. But on top of that, the super animations are way less annoying than a game like Street Fighter 6. The super animations and the way Super Meter is used and the way the back and forth is with the system of the gems that you use to wage offense and defense back and forth, it feels much better to play with than Street Fighter 6, in my opinion. Defense feels like it's you can do, I believe, advancing guard, like you can do perfect guard and things like that to give you better frame advantage, but I don't know enough about the game to champion it correctly. All I can tell you is that I'm an anime hater. Tried Unist, didn't like it that much. Tried Guilty Gear, like the old ones. The new one, Strive, I did not like at all. I tried Sam Show, love it, but it's just dead as Dorn. It's just dead as shit. It's so dead. So many fighting games I've tried that I've just trashed them because they're not worth your time. They're a little too annoying. This game is the opposite. This game impressed me with how good it rebounded from being a crappy game. So I got to give this game its props, and I will try to play it because I want to get good at Sora's because he's really fun. One of my favorite classics. It came out with a version on Steam for like $20. Keep an eye on this and get this for sale, and come and fight me. Come and fight me and see my Dao Long. Come play this game if you want to play one of the silliest, most fun games to mash in of any fighting game I've almost ever played. If you don't want to buy this, it's on Fightcade for free. Go play it on there. It's great. Personally, I love Dao Long and the American Indian character because I love grapplers with you know, just Indian flair, and I love charge characters that you wouldn't think are charge characters, which is what Dao Long is. He's basically Guile if he was also Bruce Lee, which is crazy to me. I just love this game. This is such a fun fighting game. This makes me so happy whenever I get a chance to play this. It's so good. I just wish I could get people to play it on stream. I will champion this game forever. It's just so good to go back to. Absolutely love it. Breakers Collection, $20. Real good. Fun to play single player. Just trying to beat the computer will be hard enough. You'll have fun. This is one of the greatest games of all time. I believe this game is in the Smithsonian, in their like video game section. It's this game and Tetris, and then the rest of gaming stands beneath them. It's out on Steam. I believe it's $30 right on the dot. I think it's 30. It's been updated over the last 15 years or however long it's been going. The Steam release only bolstered it because now it's easier to learn than ever. The adventure mode is currently being worked on, so there's an adventure mode where you control a single character rather than make a fortress. This game is as good as it gets, and at some point in my future, I will be making content about this game, and I love it to death. The adventure mode in this game is incredible, let alone the fortress mode. Buy yourself Dwarf Fortress if you don't own it, and if you don't feel like buying it, go pick up a free version, because it is offered. There is a free version, and experience this for yourself. Can't say enough good about it. Against the Storm. You like Warcraft? Good. Do you like roguelikes? Probably not. Those are kind of tired. Do you like base building games or settlement builders? If you like any of those things, this game is incredible. This is a very, very smooth, well put together, extensively developed. I think it took them a year and a half, maybe 2 years to build this. Roguelike settlement builder, where you're raising a settlement by obviously chopping down trees, you know, using the wood to create things and clearing out forest. It's called Against the Storm, and you're going against a thunderstorm. So not only is the gameplay cozy because you're building a settlement, but you're doing it against the pressures of an outside world. This game is also good because the visuals and the design and the motif is just steeped in old school gaming, but also new school frills. It controls very well. They made it so you can choose the difficulty very directly, so you can play this game exactly how you want. And if you're like me and you can get into kind of a vibe and just kind of enjoy the roguelike gameplay of, okay, let me try to do my best on this mission, then we move to the next one. This game is beautiful. They've updated it twice since I've played it. I don't play it on stream because it's more of a kind of a relaxed chill game, but heavily recommend this one if you like anything building-wise. If you've ever played Banished, had a good time. If you've ever played like City Skyline, had a good time. Old school Warcraft games, it's got that kind of graphical style. It's just a beautiful game to play. If you like rain, it's just raining constantly in this game. It's a big part of the game. I do. So I'm a fan of this game. Definitely recommend it. I think it's $30. I think it's right on that dot there, or 25 or 30. So you can probably get it for $15 to $20. And there is DLC involved. So I'm not sure what the price point is, but I can tell you that this is a great game. Heavily recommended. Remnant. This game doesn't get talked about enough. It's basically Gun Souls, but it's got its own thing. It's got extremely tight gunplay that perfectly meshes in with that kind of melee gameplay, and that's a tough balance to have. A lot of these games that do shoot, 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 stab, 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 like they kind of try to either follow the Devil May Cry, mashy, mashy, God of War style, or they try to do something different and they're more jank because of it. This game, the flow of the combat feels so good. It's got that Souls feeling, not just in design, but in if you die, you know it's your fault. If you die, it's because you did something wrong. It's not just because of some cheap bullshit. It's because you didn't execute enough. So it's got the Dark Souls flow of, if I get good and brute force my way through these encounters, I will prevail. So that's one of the things that a lot of these games that copy the Souls series don't get right, and this game gets it right incredibly. Also, it's got that kind of Diablo, go through repeated times, do repeated runs. It's got that randomization. You can make a new build. You can make a new character. I have not beat this game yet, but I loved what I played early on. It's also very co-op friendly, which is I think it's a very underrated thing with games like this that are so tough. It's enjoyable to go through that struggle with your homies in this game especially. It's got that very co-op Dark Souls feel, but seamless. It feels good to play this game just at all times. So it's very enjoyable. Making a build in this game is fun. The diversity is fun. The level, the biomes. It's just super good. This game is very pleasantly surprising in how solid it is from top to bottom. Big recommend to Remnant 2. I think $25 for base game, I think I want to say. I'm not sure what the sales got it at, but keep an eye out. If you guys like Project Zomboid and Half-Life, that's this game put together. Enough said. It's Half-Life 1 in terms of style. It's got kind of that polygonal, kind of scaled down graphics so it can play on all systems, but it's got very tight scavenging FPS gameplay. So it's a survival game. You're scavenging for resources, you're building things, you're crafting things, you're making a workbench, you're a scientist, you're a cook, you're putting together soups out of alien viscera, things like this. You're fishing in alien waters from some portal you went through in some weird bowel of the science facility, Black Mesa or whatever this one's called in this game. And this game is really special just because the level design and it's co-op. Up to 8 people on one server. So I can't say enough good about this. This is essentially a game based around Sven co-op, which is you can play Half-Life or Half-Life 2 scenarios with your buddies. So it feels more like a co-op, like Left 4 Dead 2 experience instead of just Half-Life, which is such a good game in of itself. This game takes that to 11 and makes the crafting and the design and the mystery aspect of it fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic. Can't say enough good about this game. Also, it's only $20, so this game I'm really excited because I think it fully releases in 2025. I think they're like 60 to 70% done making this, but anything that's currently playable in the game is fan-fucking-tastic. Unreal how smooth they made the blending. It's just the best smoothie of like 3 games I can think of. It's got that Project Zomboid. I'm constantly being besieged by zombies or weird enemies or, aliens and beasts and like hunger requirements and things like that. But then you're also base building in the middle of this big sprawling laboratory. You're going hunting for computer parts just to get some circuit boards to like make something. The gameplay loop for scavenging has never been more fun than it is in this game for me. This game and Rust, I think, are standalone as scavenging being really enjoyable. Because in this game, you're scavenging in such a weird, strange, fun-to-explore setting, and in Rust, it's just the constant back and forth of the PvP nature of it. But Abiotic Factor is just wonderful, so heavily recommended this game. I think it's $20, co-op, survival, Half-Life simulator, with plenty of you can still play it single player, it's good co-op, wonderful game. Heavily recommend. Coming out next year. I played it this year, but it's still early access, so it's not fully finished. Slay the Spire. In my journey to play a shitload of games and get rid of them and get my backlog as small as I could get it before 2025, I discovered the sad truth that a lot of my favorite roguelikes are just a little too slow to develop. Just a little too slow to, like, if I'm playing a roguelike, I want to get to know that my build is going to get ridiculous, and I want to push it to the red quickly. I don't want to sit and train with FTL. I don't want to think about my ammo and look for new guns and enter the gungeon. I don't want to worry about having 2 decks in Grifflands. After I played all those friggin' roguelikes, I came to the very obvious but very true conclusion. Slay the Spire is as good as the genre gets for deck building and roguelike at the same time, which is really convenient for me because I'm trying to play less games in 2025, and the best game is getting a sequel next year. I'm a happy camper right now because 2 of the games on this list are fantastic deck builders that completely dominate the entire rest. Yeah, exactly. It has a mod community, but even just the vanilla game is so superior to every other roguelike. It is uncanny just how good this game is, not just because of the design of the runs after each runs, but the quickness of the gameplay, the snappiness. Once you understand the game, and once you get to explore the RNG and get to look at the map and plot your run and all that, this game does a better job of any other roguelike. Every other roguelike, even FTL, which I love, it has been my favorite for years. I've put hundreds of hours into it. For a long, long time, I considered it the best roguelike there ever was. Until I started really playing it, and I said, you know what? Problem is twofold. 1, it's kind of slow developing. And 2, your build can get really stagnant, and you can just kind of go to a slow death. STS? Hell no. Hell no. You get so powerful by the second part of the map, you have hope for the third, and you can get killed just like that. But instead of thinking, oh man, I got to get lucky and get some new offense, you're ready to go for the next run. Let me boot it right back up. I'm trying to beat Ascension, whatever I'm on. And then you got 4 characters. They all have their different Ascension levels. I could gush about Slay the Spire for hours. But all you need to know is it's cheap. It's amazing. It has a... I'm going to buy the physical version of this game. There is a physical version of this game that is apparently fantastic. And on top of everything, this game has a sequel planned next year. If you don't own this game, if you have not tried this game, get off your ass, sir. It's fantastic. STS has a good mod community. STS really rewards going for harder shit. I always just dive bomb the elites. If I can't do that, I'm not going to beat the big boss at the end. Exactly. There's like I said, we could gush about it for multiple hours, but in 2024, with the mod community's help and the fact that this game is getting a direct sequel next year, play Slay the Spire. I have started playing Slay the Spire. This game replaced so many other games for me. I stopped playing FTL. I stopped playing Marvel Snap. I started playing Slay the Spire, and I'm much happier in my gaming life because of it. It's also on mobile, but it's the same exact game. This game takes a curly shit on 99% of the mobile video game market. This game and Balatro, which we will talk about later. Dead Cells. Once they put the Castlevania DLC out, this is similar to Slay the Spire in just that it's better than a lot of other games because it knows what it wants to do and it does it extremely well. But I give this game a special place in my heart because the developers did such a good job of always getting better content released. Dead Cells is right up there, probably top 5 roguelike currently out. And we're talking the entire genre. That's a big list. Top 5 for roguelikes probably goes something like Dead Cells is just, it's like Slay the Spire. It's just a little bit better than everything else. Hades goes crazy. I would say yes, but I think Dead Cells does better. Because Hades is a little tiresome. Because the story aspect of Hades and the meta progression of Hades is less chill than Dead Cells. I think Hades is a better play it through a few times, get the real ending, and then finish it. I haven't even got there yet. I'm going to. But maybe I'll think differently, but I think Dead Cells is very slightly ahead of Hades for a few reasons. The thing that puts Dead Cells above all these other games is that Dead Cells put so much more into the game as it went. Hades is Hades, and now they're making a sequel. Dead Cells put out 4 or 5 massive DLCs. They basically tripled the size of the game over the last 6 years, which is insanely impressive. And now they have Castlevania, which was a huge inspiration for the game, as part of the game, and they're making a sequel called Windblown, which I've played, and it feels even better than this game. And it's co-op. So, wonderful. Get yourself a fight stick and go play this game. If you have a fight stick, the 2 games that are not, or the 3 games that I would recommend, there are 3 games on this list, this 30-game list, that you wouldn't think to use with a fight stick, but you should play with a fight stick. This is the first one, Dead Cells. Go play Dead Cells with a fight stick and talk to me later. Very cheap, it's very good, and there's a sequel coming out, so much like Slay the Spire, if you like roguelikes even a little bit, or you like Castlevania even a little bit, give this a go. It's really goddamn good, and only got better over the last 10 years, or however long it's been out. BeamNG.drive. This is the best racing simulation ever made, because the physics engine, in of itself, is far superior than any and all other video games ever made. And that's saying a lot. This game's physics engine is a triumph of gaming. BeamNG also appears with automation where you can make your own car and engines and stuff. Yes, this game is fantastic and it gets better every 3 months or so. Every 3 months, there's a fantastic fucking update to this game. This game has a mod community. This game has a wide array of cars and devs just devoted to making it the greatest racing game of all time. You can have fun with it with missions. You can have fun with it multiplayer. You can make your own content, make your own cars. This is exactly as I was about to make that comparison, so you beat me to it, Joey. This is the Gary's mod of cars, but it goes beyond even that, I would say. If you like cars even a little bit, this is the game you're going to want to get. I have started to use this game for rally racing because there's the latest update, I believe, drastically helped both drifting and rally racing. So I adore this game with all my heart, and I'm so happy I bought it. And I think it's only $25, y'all. It might be $20 or $35, and on sale, you can get this for $20. You will never need another racing game if you were a mod kind of person. It is so good. It is so good. And we'll have another racing game on here that you guys should try. But if you're tired of a lot of games being bullshit or racing games kind of being whatever, just get this and you'll never have to worry about it again. Only one issue is, and they're trying to fix this, but the only issue is with the multiplayer mod to get into a race with your friends, it takes people with powerful computers, or you just got to be okay with a jank internet component, because the multiplayer component of this game is a mod side component. The game itself is just single player. So that's the one downside. However, there are very many, very, 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 very many developers that are working on this game that are trying to make that better. There is currently a mod called BeamNG, which has a bunch of cars that don't model the insides like a Hot Wheels car. They don't model the insides, and they don't model the guts of the car, like the mechanical aspect, and they make the car indestructible. That way it uses less processing power, so it's easier to have 12 cars get together and just do a race rather than have to simulate every exhaust and every, whatever. Do you like Titanfall? Do you like Tony Hawk Pro Skater? Do you like Doom Eternal or 2016? That's all three right here. It's all three. Hoverboarding, excellent gunplay, minimalistic, no bullshit gameplay, tons and tons of guns, upgrades for those guns, and pretty soon, mod content, and on top of everything, some of the most fun boss fights I've ever played in a single-player shooter. I can't really explain why this game is such a triumph without wanting to play it myself, because it just makes me want to boot it up, turn the stream off, maybe do a little acid, maybe do some kind of recreational drug, grab about 3 more beers, and just veg out and shoot a bunch of guys while I'm surfing through the skies at about 250 miles an hour. The art for this game tells the story. You're jumping through the map, you're shooting crazy. It's a whole bunch of Doom-style FPS arenas, so it's just you, your guns, and a whole bunch of guys to kill. But then on top of everything, the beautiful thing this game does is it brings the gameplay from Titanfall 2, when you use the grappling hook and get momentum and surf off the walls and go flying off into the distance, and all that speed grinding ultra kill style gameplay, it throws in that for free. And then on top of everything, it throws in co-op up to 4 player, and for good measure, slow motion. This is... I had no idea this game existed. I did not play the predecessor to this game, Shattered Steel, until I bought this game. Now then I tried Shattered Steel. It's very good. Similarly as good to this. But this game is the kind of game that makes me think gamers still have... You just got to find it, but gamers still have the right idea. Some developers know what the fuck they're doing. And the gentleman in the team that made this game, or anybody who's responsible for this game, you get a big fat thumbs up from me, and you get a little bit of a golf clap for good measure. I just want to make sure I don't spill my beer. Give it up. Give it up for the EPN devs. No, but this game is fantastic. If you like shooters, if you like Titanfall even a little bit, it just gives you all the tools right at the start, and they're incredible to use. Oh, shit. Yeah, I was nutting. The nutting sound is the only thing that's proper here. No, this game made me nut. Especially the, I'm gonna wind up speedrunning this game. When I really think about it, this is the game, because you can get a speedrun of this game down to 17 minutes, which is perfect. Echo Point Nova, I believe, $25, 25 or 30, right around that price point, so it's right where we want to be, and it's got great co-op, it's very replayable, and it's like Breath of the Wild meets Doom meets Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 movement, Doom just gunplay, it's just arenas, and you shoot guys with guns, whatever gun you want. And then you jump around the map like it's Titanfall 2 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You're on a hoverboard, you're grinding all over the place, you're flying through the air, you're zip-zop-zooping around walls. Wonderful goddamn game. One of my favorite shooters of all time, and I'm so happy to own it. It's just so enjoyable. Now, earlier we said Dead Cells was the first game you need to play if you have a fight stick. I just found the second one. This is Streets of Rage 4. Beat-em-ups are a fun genre. They're a classic genre. They're a fantastic genre. They're a very simple, enjoyable, and fun to share with others experience. You can boot up a beat 'em up, you can hand somebody a controller, and you can get in and you can just mash buttons until you kill everybody on screen and then go to the next screen and kill everybody. Thank you for playing the nutting sound. Hold on. That's how I feel when I play Streets of Rage 4. And you got beer with you. Cheers to that guy. Clink. Streets of Rage 4 only got better this year. They put out extra DLC, balance adjustment, Mania Plus mode, replayability out the ass. You can replay this game with Streets of Rage 2 characters, for God's sakes. It's got the classic characters in pixel form. It's got new characters. You can play the boss characters. There's a bunch of levels. There's a training mode. There's a versus mode. And this game only costs like $25. This is, I could make the case, the greatest beat 'em up of all time. It is. And it's out now. And it's cheap. And it's amazing. And anybody who's ever enjoyed beating the shit out of a bunch of bad guys and throwing knives around and hitting them with pipes and doing wrestling moves and set the game to easy and just be invincible and just walk around beating the fuck out of everybody like it's the Simpsons arcade game. If you have ever enjoyed a beat 'em up in your life, you go and get this game now. You got to get this game now. It's very good. It's very good. Can you make a pog face for like 5 seconds? I can, but that's going to cost you a subscription. If you're gonna be making demands, you got to be making donations. You know what I'm talking about? You got to bring the double D's to the equation, okay? Dusk. This was one of the first in very many of a boomer shooter renaissance that happened over the last 5 years or so. Boomer shooters are exactly what they sound like. They're very Doom-coded. They're very old-school, single-player, multi-act campaign. We're talking Blood. We're talking Duke Nukem. We're talking Doom 2, Doom 64. We're talking Hexen. There's another game called Medieval that is close to as good as this. This is as good as it gets when it comes to boomer shooters. Every level is so enjoyable. The weaponry is incredible. The music is stunning. This was the game that made me fall in love with Andrew Hulshult. Even though he made that incredible Doom remake, it is so nice to see him be the person who's in charge of the soundtrack with this one because it went so hard in all of the best ways. It was gloomy when it needed to be gloomy. It was over the top when it needed to be over the top. So everything about this game is FPS perfection. It's grimy. It's low poly, but the style is very, very well done. It's got incredible mod tools now and multiplayer, and just, I wish more people played the multiplayer, if honest. I need to start playing the multiplayer. It's very good. I need to invite some people and start doing that with them. The biggest thing I can say about it that you need to play this game, like you need to play this game, is the Act 3, the final however many stages of this game, I think is the most memorable and incredible single-player FPS gameplay I've ever experienced. And this is the biggest praise I can give. This game is one of the very, very few that completely fixed the big problem with a lot of these godlike FPS games, like even Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal and any of the old Dooms. This game's final act blows those games out of the water because they do something that is so hard to do in a game that is like this, where it basically just gives you certain guns. It tells you, here's this new enemy, here's this, here's that. At the end of this game, in the third act, the things those stages in the third act do to turn the gameplay on its head and change the gameplay will make you sit there and just go, holy shit. I can think of 4 different stages in particular that just push FPS gameplay to the red to the point where it completely usurped all my old favorite classics. There are very few single-player FPS games that can even come close to the campaign of this game. It's perfect. It pushes the boundaries of the genre, and it just feels so good to play. The smoothest controls of any shooter game you're ever going to play. Any FPS ever. You're doing backflips, flipping your gun in the air, killing people. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, Dusk, cheap as hell. I think you can get this for $10. I'm pretty sure if you look for a deal, you can get this for $5 or $10. And it's incredible. I got to go back to learn how to speedrun it. Here is the third game. where I recommend you go and get yourself your Fight Stick and you try to play this on Fight Stick. It's this Tetris effect connected. Do you guys like Tetris? Of course you like Tetris. That's a rhetorical question. You know what's great about Tetris that a lot of people won't tell you? All the new side games in the past 2 years. This is the main one. This is the good one. They also had like Tetris Effect Museum or some kind of Tetris Museum version that came out that's got like a new old version of the game and some documentary footage in it. Whatever. Go watch the Tetris movie and then go play Tetris Effect Connected. The music's incredible. The co-op is incredible. There's co-op modes in this that are fun. The campaign is incredible. You can play through it in one shot if you want to. I'm trying to learn how to do that. I keep going back to the music, but that's all I can talk about. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful game. And if you guys have VR, if any of you sons of bitches actually have a VR headset or any VR capabilities whatsoever, I am excited to get when I get a VR helmet, it's going to be for 2 reasons. It's going to be for racing games and this game. And also pornography, but we don't talk about that. Who said that? Who said that? Anyway, I love me some VR chat, guys. You have no idea. Tetris Effect Connected. Probably the best Tetris, just fun to hang around with gameplay I can think of. The music goes to the beat. Such an enjoyable time. I'll play some of it on stream sometime soon when I'm looking to play with the homies. And I think this is about $25, 25 or 20. I know if you look for sale, you can definitely get this for $20. It's worth every penny. The single-player campaign alone is perfect for like a weekend of just trying to get through the Constellation or Story mode and then play a couple of the chill multiplayer modes. Very enjoyable game. Love it. Rust. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. I love it to death, but I hate the fact that I can never find time for it because fighting games are kind of my all-in-one genre. In another life, I gave up on fighting games years ago, and I'm a Rust head, where I've just been playing it and goofing around for 10 years, just messing around however long this game's been out. This game is just a scavenging FPS, but the creativity and all the over-the-top things that have been added to this game over the years, it's a beautiful thing. It brings me back to the era of Steam. That was right when Steam first came out, and Valve was taking a chance on making a platform for Half-Life 2. Games like Day of Defeat, games like Counter-Strike, obviously, but with custom servers. Games like that were just ruling the FPS market for me because I was playing console shooters like Call of Duty 4 and other things on the Xbox, but then you would play stuff like Counter-Strike Source, other games like that on the PC. Day of Defeat I loved. Call of Duty 4 I loved on console, obviously. Halo 3. Rust has that feeling. Day of Defeat, or Team Fortress 2, where I would just go on to hang out and not really care if I died or got killed a lot by better players, because you're having fun talking shit with them on the microphones, and you're having fun playing whatever character you like or whatever class you like and just getting a couple kills. You don't need to dominate the lobby to have a good time, right? Rust takes that to an extreme because it's an incredibly creative game. The bases you can build, all the things they added little events you can do. You can go gamble in the main town. You can make fun happen in this game by yourself. You can make friends. You can just say expletives across from each other. You can be a shithead. You can be a pacifist. You can be a raider. You can be a soloer. You can be a clan member. This game is so underrated because despite the fact that the community is just crazy, the creativity and the mix of creativity and incredible gunplay, because the gunplay in this game is actually pretty solid. It'll frustrate you because it's easy to just get killed by some bullshit, or killed and the gunplay isn't like perfect. Like there's server discrepancies, there's hit registration discrepancies, there's some bullshit to it. But the nature of the game is so destructive that you really don't, once you play it a little bit, you don't take it too seriously when you just get killed by some kid, or you get raided by a clan that just nonstop offlines you when you're just not playing the game. Or you can just go find a good server. And you just go find a good server, or you can just play with your buddies and get a private server. Play with 5 of your buddies. Just try to do it Minecraft style. This game is so underrated, and I'm so sad I haven't had the time to play it. I will definitely try to play it next year, and I'm definitely going to do it on the server if you guys want to come by. On top of everything, it has drops, it has cosmetics, but it's only like $25. For $25, the enjoyment you can get out of this game and not spend all that much money, it's way up there. And they added vehicles. We can do races in this game. there's a lot to be done with this game. So Rust, big thumbs up from me. I very much like a game that prioritizes creativity and a fun map to explore and topology and PvP with building that isn't annoying like Fortnite or stuck in a Battle Royale mode. It lets you kind of build and naturally grow your base out or have a clan and a group. I just love everything this game does, even though the community can be annoying. And a lot of things about this game can be annoying. It's easy to just forgive that and keep playing because it's so addictive. You can stay for hours in this game and have a great time. Pizza Tower. So this is a recurring theme, but in this list, there's a couple games that basically just take an old game that was amazing, and they do a spiritual sequel that's better than the old game. This game right here, this is a better version of Wario Land, which is saying something because Wario Land was kind of fantastic. The concept of Wario Land was always so good that I wondered why nobody else made a game in that style, which was I guess the new term is extraction games, which is, you're trying to get out with the loot. Wario Land was the original extraction game, but it's a platformer, so it's like you get into the stage, you hit the whatever, and then you got to get out before everything collapses and you die. It's a simple concept for a platformer. It's a great concept for a platformer. I think more games need stuff like that. I think Spelunky has something like that, where if the level gets late enough, a ghost starts coming after you, and you're going to die, so you got to get out of there. Where it shines is the artistic merit. Not only are the graphics crazy, it looks like a Saturday morning cartoon, but the music, Mr. Sauceman was cooking when there's a couple guys, whoever was like doing the soundtrack for this game. I need some of whatever they were eating. I need whatever some of they were smoking. I need some of whatever they were drinking, because they were on that good when they were working on this game. There are so many good songs in this game. I would say if you're not going to play this, go get the OST and tell me you don't have a good time listening to that, because for $20, I think this costs, this is an incredible platformer, and it's so replayable because for $20 you can go through and try to plat all the stages again. That'll get you an extra. Yeah, mod community is crazy too. A lot of the best games have a really good mod community, but my point being is that they took a classic gameplay concept that hasn't been done in a while because Nintendo's been dragging their ass. So Nintendo hasn't made a new Wario Land. I think the last one they made was that back on GameCube? Kind of make more WarioWare. Like, that's Wario's thing now, is WarioWare games. They've had a new one for every generation in Nintendo console. But Wario Land has not been around. So Pizza Tower, straight up indie game, developed, took a while, but incredible because of it. Mod community's good too, and I guarantee this will have, if not a sequel, this will get other people to make games like this. Yeah, a lot of the games on here, these are a lot of indie games, so a lot of them have an extensive mod community. There's very few games that on my list that don't have a mod community. Even Tekken has some, although they don't get you far because you can't use mods. Anyway, Pizza Tower is super replayable, extremely fun. I have to platinum it still, but it's just the best. And the music is the main reason. Graphically, it's also very fun just to look at. It's very enjoyable. Emotionally, this game will get to you for something so silly and so enjoyable. If you like Rocko's Modern Life or some of those late 90s cartoons that were really whacked out, this game is for you. That's for me, baby. I love Ed, Edd n Eddy. This game is just like, it's the same exact thing as Pizza Tower, man. They took this old game from the 90s that hasn't seen a sequel in a dozen years, and they said, hey, why didn't Sega make a new Jet Set Radio? I don't know, man. Who gives a shit? You want to make one? Yeah, let's do it. And then they did it, and it's great. And it's better than Jet Set Radio, which is saying something. The gameplay of this game, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, way better than Jet Set Radio. Way better. It's faster. It's got a little bit more diversity. It's more fun to do the graffiti part of things. The story is interesting. It's at least interesting. It's not good. Like, it's not great or anything, but it's interesting. It's not bad. Story in first Jet Set, it's kind of bad. It's a little bad. More importantly, just like Pizza Tower, the best games had killer soundtracks. So Jet Set Radio had a killer soundtrack. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk got a killer soundtrack. Wario Land, I don't think it had a killer soundtrack, but Pizza Tower, they said, you know what? We'll give it a killer soundtrack just in case. And they did. This game probably has the craziest mod community besides BeamNG. This game has insane mod community. You can get some really NSFW stuff as well, but this game's mod community, they've put like the entirety of Sonic Adventure 2 from the GameCube, like the Golden Gate Bridge level, like that's in this game now because of the mod community. It's wild, man. But all you need to know about this game is it's Jet Set Radio, but they also give you a bike and a skateboard and a lot more collectible characters. The New Game Plus in this game is very enjoyable. I haven't platinumed the game myself yet, but I'm going to. I want to at least platinum it one time because it's very enjoyable and it's very worth the money. I believe $35 when it's not on sale, and you can get it for $20. I think it might be lower than that. I'm not sure. All I know is it's worth every penny. I got at least a dozen hours out of this one, and that was just doing a simple one playthrough. I still have to go back and platinum this game. The enjoyment I've gotten from this game's soundtrack alone is fantastic, let alone just replaying the game. It's good music to put on when you're cleaning. You're cleaning your house, doing some laundry, throw this soundtrack on, get you moving. Get that ass shaking, Jack. Nova Drift. It's Asteroids roguelike, but the flow of it, much like Dusk, which I explained earlier, it controls so smoothly that it's one of the few games where you're just like, just playing that game is bliss. If you've got a pad like this, the game controls where you're piloting your ship, so this is the gas and this is the fire button, and you're just aiming around. So it's got that Asteroids gameplay, but once you've played this, and once you discover a couple builds to make in this game, and once you juggle them around a little bit, and you're building your ship, this is one of the best games there is in the genre. So this is one of the few roguelikes that I would say the gameplay is so buttery smooth and so enjoyable. This game goes beyond a lot of what other roguelikes do, which is they kind of get caught up in the meta progression and all the bullshit. This game just gives you, after you level up just a little bit, all the possibilities and says go nuts. And you can make some insane possibilities here. You can make giant screen-wide flak cannon explosion fireworks builds. You can do a death laser. It's very Binding of Isaac in that when you get certain combos, the game just lights up and you'll just be, it's like you're staring at fireworks. That's how it feels. In a good way, in a very good way. So the gameplay of this one is so smooth, so buttery smooth. It's got that Tetris effect. It's got that, just as soon as you boot it up, you're having a good time. Everything hits well, just everything that's going on. Even when you die, it's like, I'm dead, but and then the game is doing like a violin solo. It's a wonderful game. It's ambient. It's classic. It is Asteroids gameplay, legitimately. You're just floating around the screen, tank controls. You can play with a mouse and keyboard as well if you don't want the tank controls. You can play that it's more traditional, if you like. It's got that Geometry Wars. I'm just shooting shit and blowing up the stars, supernova, big explosions, big fire effects. Good bosses, good everything. Love this game. This game rocks. Gravity Circuit. This is the game that got me to quit Mega Man. It's like they took Zero. You know Zero and Mega Man X, who's like, Zero's the one with the sword. They have another guy with like a whip. 30XX does this too. They just have multiple characters. This game basically said, we are going to take Zero's move list, but it's going to hit harder. Like, we're going to do spinning pile drivers and shit. And we're going to have like a chain grapple, and we're going to have that stuff, and he can keep the sword. Like, you still can get a sword. But the move list for the character in this game is beauty. Beauty! This game makes me look at anything Mega Man related and go, fuck you. These guys know what they're doing. The movement in this game, the way you can dunk on any enemies if you're good enough, the tightness of the controls, the flow of the gameplay, the quickness of it, the music was good. This game, it skips a lot of the annoyances I get with some like platformers or some Mega Man clones. Like 30XX is good, but it's a little too much. This game feels like it lets you dominate the game, but it's still hard, and yet it's hard to explain. I'm going to have to fully plat this one to appreciate just how good it is, but I can tell you from experience, if you like Mega Man, go play this, and you'll be like me immediately. You'll just say, Mega Man can take a shit for himself. This game rocks. Screw Shovel Knight, screw Castlevania, screw it all, because the controls in this game, orgasmic. Can somebody play the nutting sound? Thank you. It's so good that it legitimately eclipsed a whole genre of game for me. After playing this, I have way less interest in playing like 30XX, any old Mega Man game. I'm like, whatever, dog. I got the Alpha and the Omega over here. I don't need your shitty game anymore. I'm set. Unless it's Mega Man Legends. I will play a Mega Man Legends sequel, but I don't think that's going to happen. This is deservedly contending for Game of the Year. For any game, anybody who's ever played a game in their life. This game should have existed 10 years ago. Because it's so good, it feels like, why didn't this exist already? Where somebody just took a regular 52-card deck of traditional playing cards and said, well, let's make a deck builder out of this, but let's make it about the jokers. Let's make a bunch of weird jokers that do goofy shit, and you can make a build based around how your jokers are assembled. You can make a build based around what kind of hand you want to play. You can upgrade your hand. The intuitiveness of the gameplay, most people in their life, because as a kid it's a very good teaching technique, usually play Go Fish or some kind of game with 52 cards. So if you're even remotely familiar with Texas Hold'em, with any kind of gambling, this game is like crack cocaine. This game is like heroin. This game is like black tar heroin right in the goddamn veins. If you like Texas Hold'em, if you like blackjack, if you like Go Fish, if you like war, if you like any card game, this game is going to kick you in the ass, and then you're going to realize it's on mobile, and you're going to say, and you're going to cry happy tears like I did, and you're going to say, oh man, I never need to play some shitty mobile game again in my life because I got the best trio ever. I got Dead Cells, I got Slay the Spire, and I got Balatro. If you don't know about Balatro, get off your ass. There's a reason it's at the Game Awards fighting against the Titans for Game of the Year. This game is incredible. The only thing I dislike about this game is that in order to platinum it, I would have to get a gold sticker on every goddamn card, and there's no way I'm doing that. You can go fuck yourself, local thunk. All right? Go fuck yourself. Ain't nobody got time for that. I hate games that make really annoying final challenges like that just because they can. It's annoying. I like to platinum some games. But then if a game does that, I'm just like, dude, no thank you. they can have that one. I'm good. Anyway, Balatro. Roguelike, you build a deck, you go through multiple blinds, you try to beat the biggest blind, which is the boss blind, is exactly what it sounds like. It is a deck builder. You can change your cards up in many ways. You can learn how to mess with the RNG. You can learn how to assemble jokers in a way that will make crazy combinations happen and give you bigger and bigger hands. And the nice part about this game is you can beat the game normally, like you can get to the end of the game, but then once you do, it allows you to continue into endless mode immediately. That's very, very nice. So if you have a busted deck that is crazy, crazy good, at the end you can just be like, I'm going to keep playing. Fuck it. It's not like FTL. It's like an FTL if you destroyed the flagship and then you continue to go on to conquer the galaxy. Like you beat the flagship and then you just, like, you're going to fight every big ship ever. Balatro lets you go and play to your heart's content after defeating the final blind, which is very nice. It's just the game is designed very intuitively. It is so enjoyable right from the get-go. You will get hooked on this immediately. Shogun Shodown is a very unique roguelike in that it's designed to make you feel like a god. When you're playing this game correctly, you're dodging all damage. You're making enemies play off of one another. It feels like you're in an episode of Naruto and you're doing that thing where, like, the one guy who jumped into the fight and I got any nerds in the chat right now? Because I didn't watch all of Naruto, but I saw one fight where it was like Itachi or somebody, like Sasuke's dickhead brother. He jumped into like a fray of like 500 ninjas. He's just fighting everybody at once. And then people in the crowd were just like, he's not going to fight everybody at once, is he? And that's exactly what he did. This game makes you feel like Itachi or whatever power fantasy shit Naruto you're watching. That's a really vague scene. Okay. It makes you feel like that happens a lot in Naruto. That's fair. Madara, you could be correct. I do not know. This game makes you feel like that. This game, even at the start, I've only beat it like twice. Even at the start, when you're pulling plays and you're ducking over here and you're going over there and you're building your build around certain moves you want to get overpowered with sacrifices or at the stores, as you're building it, the power fantasy is magnifique. It is so precise in the way it makes you just do that one little juke. It almost feels like a fighting game. It feels like you're sidestepping to make a whiff happen, and then you're whiff punishing for like a full kill on a boss. It does that multiple times in one run. So as you're playing it, and the better you get, the satisfaction level just keeps... It's really hard to describe just how smooth the gameplay is because it's so different. It's about jumping back and forth, but then turning the right way, and enemies, and you're all on a 2D grid. Combinations of things you can do and the way it changes from character to character. It's just very well done gameplay, and it gets really, really satisfying when you're just completely destroying enemies at the drop of a hat just with a little bit of good execution. So it gets very good very quickly, and it's cheap, and it's amazing. I'd say much like this goes beyond Slay the Spire, it's got a fighting game quality to it. There's a fighting game quality to the way in which you can, let's say I'm playing the first character, you can do a thing where if you move to them, you put them behind you. So I can do a thing where I put myself in a really bad situation, but then I'm fighting two bosses that their gimmick is that it's a Smo and Ornstein situation, right? There's big guy and small guy or something like that. And they're collapsed on you and they're going to chop you in half. Now you're going to backdash, you're going to forward dash through the guy. You're going to have a move that lets you teleport to the other end and then drag somebody over to you. Or you're just going to teleport after swapping places, and you're going to say, nice try, kid, and you're going to teleport across the stage, and you're going to turn around and hit him in the ass with a poison arrow. Little moves like that are so quick. You can learn how to do them so quickly. And the game completely goes over the top with it to the point where it's just a power fantasy the whole time. It's super unique. It's hard to... I'd have to play it on stream. It's great. Heavily recommended. Because... not a lot of roguelikes do that. With a turn-based game, the fluidity of this gameplay cannot be understated. Sorry to sound like a nerd, but this one's really special. Shogun Shodown, big recommend. It's also a super good Steam Deck game. Shredders is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a big dumb snowboarding game. But it's got that skate gameplay where you're using the dual sticks and you're doing the flips and whatnot. But once you get used to the controls and you can set it to like easy control mode where it'll auto land for you, once you set the controls and you just kind of go amongst the levels, the stages they've built in this game, and they've updated it every year. They just put out the 2025 update with a new park. It's super chill. If you like snowboarding, like you actually enjoy snowboarding, I recommend this to anybody who even likes snowboarding a little bit. I used to snowboard as a young, and I haven't done it in a long time because I don't want to break a fucking leg. It scratched that itch that I missed from like SSX, which is just hitting the slope and just doing a couple flips and stuff and just wiping out, having a good time. It's $25. It's been updated for 2025. They're gonna put another update next year, I believe. There's actual gear in it. The single player has a few amount of stages. You can just skip the cutscenes, and it plays very, very well. And the physics are on point. The grinding, I really like the rail physics, and I really enjoyed the openness of the gameplay, where you can just kind of easily go wherever you want at any given time with either snowmobiles or just selecting it from like the map to get dropped somewhere. There's a few snowboarding games out. I think this is the best by a lot. I've played Riders Republic, I've played Steep, and this is just chill as hell in the best of all ways. Only thing that's bad, not in all ways, I'm lying to you. This actually has really annoying voice acting. And the single player, but you can just skip the cutscene. Just skip the cutscene and all that goes away. You can just mash the start button or whatever it is and skip all over it. Voice acting isn't great. It feels cheap, like not in a good way. It's not good, but that's fine. Who cares? Who gives a shit? It's a snowboarding game. Who cares about the voice acting? Sludge Life. This goes for Sludge Life 1 and 2. Do you guys watch Adult Swim at all? You like Aqua Teen Hunger Force? You like Squidbillies, huh? Little Loiter Squad? Maybe a little Saul the Mole Men? Perhaps an episode or two of Eric Andre show, you know? That sort of business. This game is just a really fun kind of adventure. It's like a tiny, tiny version of Jet Set Radio where you're just trying to tag a whole bunch of spots in the map to progress. It's that, but with one big map with no loading times, which is very pleasant. And... there's so much charm. There's just so much charm to be had. Artistically, this is just a great game. It costs $10. I got the first one for free on Epic Game Store. You can keep an eye out for a sale. You can get this for like $2. It's just a really fun one-day kind of game. You can platinum this in a day if you really wanted to, in like 3 hours. But it's just so enjoyable, and it'll make you smile in so many little moments that just the walk around. It's almost like an art exhibit, but the most fun art exhibit ever. It just makes you giggle. It's got that Beavis and Butthead or like a, gnarly kind of comic vibe to it. It's basically an Adult Swim video game, interactive, but in such a way that makes you, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Because the music is so good, the graphics are so good. it makes exploration very fun because every corner you turn has something interesting to like look over. It's just it's very comprehensive in the way the map, even though it's a remixed version of the first one, because these games are both the same. I would say get them both and play them back to back. It's the remix of the map is well done enough that you have a very fun time looking through the hotel and looking through the story of this game, and the endings are more fun, and the what else was better? I think the second game has more fun endings than the first one, even though the first one has a really fun special ending you can get. Sludge Life 1 and 2, exploration, graffiti, walk and chat games with really, really fun aesthetics and motif. Great music, too. Big recommend, because they're only like $4. You can get a fun weekend out of both of these games. You can play one game one day, then the other game the next day, and have a great time. And I think it would cost you like $5 for 5-6 hours of having fun. I value that pretty highly. Slackers, Carts of Glory. I love this game, dude. This game rocks. You're on caster wheels in a grocery cart doing 80 kilometers an hour through suburban neighborhoods to try to get to the beer store before it closes. Multiplayer. It's got single-player time trials. It's got a fun little dev team, and it's got a low cost of $13. Go get this game. It is the best. I platinumed it. It took me a weekend to platinum it, and I loved every minute of it. Graphics are great. The stages are good. There's more coming. It's got multiplayer, which are just like chill lobbies where you're all in a lobby and you just keep doing runs. Whoever gets the best time wins. They'll probably add more modes as they go because they're like an indie studio, and they probably made a decent amount of money. But I need people to buy this game. It's only $10. It's $10 on sale. It's $13 normally. Please get this game. I guarantee you will get at least 5 hours of fun out of it if you even remotely try to beat all the stages. Forget about platinum, though. It has an original soundtrack that's pretty good. Competitive. You can't listen to it the whole time, but it's got an original soundtrack that's pretty enjoyable, too. So the artistic merits of it are there. It's really smooth gameplay. The concept is great. And the satisfaction you get by hitting a good time is extremely satisfying. Because the difficulty of steering the cart, it feels like hitting a really, really hard combo in Tekken. It feels like you did a touch of death combo with Kazuya. You know, down forward 2 counter hit with Kazuya, and then touch of death, which is you got to do a frame perfect electric to even get that launch to hit. It's like hitting that when you hit a good line with this game, and then you can watch the replay and you're just like, oh yes. Because you feel like a drunken idiot, but there's that satisfaction of a drunken idiot who just did some drunken boxing and knocked 3 people out or something. Thronefall, okay. This game is like a really nice glass of wine. Tower defense, but also like RPG, ARPG, where like you're running around and fighting the enemies, and you can micro it a bit, and you can really, like, you can make it so it's more about you, the person stabbing the enemies with your spear or chopping them with your axe or whatever weapon you're using. Or you can kind of go more into tower defense mode. You can pick certain things. This game's, the depths of the systems, it's like the best tower defense game I've ever played when I really think about it, because it's so simplistic. It doesn't do any story. It doesn't do anything but like 12, I think it's like 12 pretty interesting maps. And even though you can only summon towers on specific spots, the depths of the gameplay to let you pick your build is still really, really wide, because it gives you all of these different customization options. It gives you like an insane amount of replayability. It lets you pick, okay, your towers do this, you have more health, your units do more damage, or it could be like you do no damage, but your units do twice as much damage. You can pick different builds. It took me, I think, 12 hours to beat all the regular stages at like their hardest difficulty, and I'm only halfway through the game. So this is just a matter of like the money being so worth it. Also, from what I've seen of the gameplay, there's this game coming out called Dino Lords, which is by the Ghost Ship Games Publishing is doing that, which is that cool game that got announced, which is like, it looked like almost like Rise of Nations, but with dinosaurs. It was some good-looking RPG, or some good RTS, rather. And this game plays a little bit like that feels, but tower defense. So there's this game coming out that's going to be like this. This game plays smooth as butter. It's just like Nova Drift, and that just like the gameplay is so smooth and chill in the artistic merits of it. If you like Rise of Nations, you'll probably like this. It's so nice just to see a game that gives you not only good ways to remix the main campaign, because in this game there's like 12 stages and the maps are all different. They have all different like layouts and you have to use different strategies and you can do different things here and there. But also, the way the game's leveling up system keeps giving you little challenges to give you and then telling you, okay, do this challenge, do this challenge. It has an endless mode. It has like a really, really nice, just simple, if you just want to play it through once, you'll still get 10 to 12 hours of playing it through once just to beat the last level. It was so hard. They patched it since, but still. It's just incredibly, incredibly smooth. It's got that Nova Drift. I mentioned it with Nova Drift earlier. The game plays so smoothly that just booting it up, there's no annoyance even when you lose. It's just so smooth to play that even when you lose, it's so easy just to slide into another run. You don't have to. I don't have to mourn that my build was so good last game and I lost it, just like Slay the Spire. I don't have to worry about that. I can just slide right into the next run without even an ounce of bad times. So just if you're min-maxing enjoyment, this game is like one of the best tower defense games I've ever played, if I'm real about it. I'm going to plat this one. It's really goddamn good. It's probably the perfect Steam Deck game, if I'm real, because it's so enjoyable to use different builds in this game, just for fun. So enjoyable. I think it's $15 to $20. Really, really good. Really, really good. I hope the dev does more. I hope there's a Thronefall 2 at some point. Because if they expanded this even more, this would be really, really special. I like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I thought Vampire Weekend was okay. I didn't mind Bone Razor Minions. But I shelved all those games I just mentioned. Not just because they were in early access, but because this game exists. This is like if Diablo 1 and Vampire Survivor had a kid. But they were even better than both those games. Diablo 1, maybe not, but Vampire Survivor, very, very much so. Mechanics of this game are so easy to understand, but then so fun to explore with the quest system and the characters they give you and the potion seller and looking for certain items and just trying out different things and trying to hit all the little challenges. The quest system really drives it because it feels less aimless than other auto battlers. Like, the meta progression in this game is pretty fun. And there's a lot of very fun characters that you can just say, hey, I just want to play this character and try some runs on this stage or something, or try to beat this or whatever. And the best part about this game is the price point. It's only $6.66 when it's not on sale. I think it's like $2.50 when it's on sale. So in terms of bang for your buck, go get this game immediately. Immediately go get this game. Also, the graphics are fantastic. It's got a little voice acting that's good, graphical fidelity. Like, it's just fun to watch happen. And it's less flashy. It's less flashy and more mellow, kind of gothic style in a very enjoyable fashion. The textures are kind of like the sprites, and the textures are kind of flat in an enjoyable... it's a scaled back kind of graphical fidelity. It's lo-fi, but not really. So it's using old school game graphics, but it's bringing them up to modern standards in this... I don't want to say smooth. I want to say flat, but still pops. It's flat graphically in terms of 3D, 2D, but it pops in terms of texture work and effect work, and you can focus on your character just being a cool badass that's making these big effects happen. It does a better job of that than games like Vampire Survivor that are too flashy, or Bone Razor minions that kind of look kind of washed out. So graphically, this game just, the style of it with Diablo 1 is so tremendous. Halls of Torment, fantastic. Super cheap. Super good. Auto shooter, which basically means you just control your character, but they automatically fire away at the enemies. You can control them manually. But this game just has such an incredible job of making the meta progression fun, because you can use different builds, different characters. You can scavenge for items. You can just kind of play it through naturally. You can just play through and say, hey, I'm going to beat a couple levels, and that's a good time. And you can pay $6 for that. And that'll get you a good 10 hours of fun. So I say, for your money, this game is incredible. Especially if you really like the depth of the quest system and playing the different characters. If you take a liking to the Zweihander Berserker, cool. If you like the guy who has the flamethrower, sweet. The cleric, stuff like that. It's very enjoyable to explore the roster. Never waste your time. This game never wastes your time. Gets right to the point. No frills, no nothing. Here's what we do. There's a couple of cool little cutscenes with a couple characters that just it's fun to listen to their voice work. And then you keep going. It's a very enjoyable game. It's insane that he only charged $6.66 for this. It's the best. Brotato. Now, this game is raw gameplay, and it is one of the few games where I didn't bring it up as disappointing because Brotato is all gameplay, no story. None whatsoever. There's not even a little bit of a story. Nothing like that. It's free on Epic right now, and if you like just running around killing stuff, Gauntlet style, the way this game works is you'll look at it and you'll say, this game looks so, and then you'll play it once and you'll say, oh, I see how it is. Depth of the roster. There's like 60, 70 characters to play, and they all have those little tiny build differences, and you're playing the game, and as you're building from wave to wave is wild. It's just insane how fun and effortlessly addictive that they made the flow of just running around and avoiding enemies. You increase the difficulty. It's just the twitchy nature of the bullet hell auto shooter thing. This is the only auto shooter that I think even remotely steps to Halls of Torment, because it's not being flashy, it's being raw. It's just raw it's about building your character with whatever gimmick they have, and it's about the second-to-second nature of the gameplay. That's all this is about. We're here to play the game. We're not here to fuck around. We're not here to give you some dumb story. We're not here to tutorialize you. We're not here to take 5 acts. We're here to game, all right? Kill some goddamn spuds, and then you do. Or spores, or whatever you're killing in that game. This game is only $5, and currently it's free on Epic. With the DLC, I think the DLC is like $8. Is this game $10 or $5? It's cheap as hell. But this game's cheap as hell, and the DLC Abyssal Terrors was out this year, and that is good too. I do not own it. I don't play this game, but I did enjoy it very much. I might go back to it someday, especially if it gets a sequel. If this game gets, I think you can do co-op. Is it split screen co-op or is it multiplayer online? Because this game has co-op, I do believe. And I think it. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. That's why I listed it. This game is fantastic co-op. This game is fantastic for co-op with family members, or just like to mess around with. If you're hanging out with your buddies, you got nothing better to do, you want to play. It's like Castle Crashers in that regard. It's got this co-op mode. It's very just hop in and just mess around, Castle Crashers style. This is your only move is hustle. This is a turn-based fighting game that takes place inside the frames of the fighting game. This is such a cool concept, and done so well, and it encapsulates so much of internet culture with those old stick figure Flash comics that it is must play for anybody who's ever liked a fighting game. This is $5 on Steam. This is incredible. You can go on the workshop, and I guess there's about 300 more characters at this point. Everybody's broken. Everybody's insane. And you'll get your ass kicked by the AI. You'll get your ass kicked by everybody online. But then, at the end of every fight, you'll look at this replay of the fight, and you'll just have such a fun time seeing all those turn-based back-and-forth things turn into a big, crazy animation. And then you can make any character you want, and it's so crazy. So, this game is a triumph of gaming because it's so goddamn raw in the way it just wants to explore fighting game frame by frame, with that back and forth, just your fantasy land of stick figures fighting off of each other and those old animations, just Dragon Ball Z shit happening, anime teleporting behind one another, parrying. It's so hard to get people into. It's going to be so hard to get people into. I guess you got to really make it look good by having good fight animations or good back and forths. But this is like a fighting game that you play by doing certain moves one frame at a time, and the back and forth with you and the opponent turns into an animation at the end after you took however long to do each of your moves around the fight. So you can teleport over here, do 3 punches. He grabs you, he throws you over this way. Oh, I did my burst, so he has to get off me for a second. Oh, I did that into a combo. Now I'm doing a Tatsumaki. Now we're in the corner. I'm going to throw him off the floor. Insane gameplay. There's characters that are off-the-wall crazy, cowboy and ninja, and all the workshop characters. The workshop mod community is ridiculous. Just like Bomber Cyberpunk, just like Pizza Tower, BeamNG. The mod community carries this game hard. And I think this game's $5 or $8, something cheap as hell. Definitely need to get you on this if you have any interest in fighting games. Mahjong Soul! I got really mad at Marvel Snap. I gave up Marvel Snap. I started playing Slay the Spire, and I said, Slay the Spire is my card game, man, but I said, I need something a little extra that I can play in IRL or on the computer. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do poker. And I said, nah, poker's a little too gambling pilled. And I said, well, what else is gambling pilled but different? Something new I can do so I don't just feel like I'm playing cards and slapping down Texas Hold'em. Enter Mahjong. I played it in high school, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I still don't, but I would love to learn because Mahjong feels like dominoes, where you're taking the cards from the pool and you're slapping down tiles, and everybody can take, like, you're taking tiles from one guy to try to make one combo, and I'm getting closer, and it's that Uno feeling of working yourself towards the victory, but also keeping an eye on your opponents like a hawk and just watching around, just looking back and forth like the dog at the end of that episode of The Simpsons, just like, has that motherfucker got the 3 I need? And this game is basically, I went searching for something that was free to play, like I don't have to pay money just to learn Mahjong. I can play with AI if I want to, because I'm starting out, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I just want to play with AI. And I don't have to do any of the gacha. I don't have to do any gacha bullshit to play the free-to-play game. This game is that to a T. You can ignore that shit completely. I just started learning Mahjong from scratch. Just started learning it from scratch, man. I forgot. I played back in high school 8 years ago. Not in high school, college. I played in college back 8 years ago. I forgot. I do not know. But I will definitely play this continually, and I will learn, because I've been reading up a little bit to see, like, what are they called? What's the thing to try to... I don't know. Fukuoka? I don't know what the hell the name is. But the thing you do to... Yaku, is that it? Like, the thing you do to get a win, or the different ways you can get a win, and recognizing the tiles. I'm having fun delving into that, because I feel like learning Mahjong is the pathway to really fun times, because Mahjong is a party game. If you want to get drunk and stoned and hang the fuck out for hours, Asian dudes know how to throw down. I know this because I went to Asian high school, and those guys were throwing down. They are fun sons of bitches. Yeah, you need Yakus to have a winning hand. I'm up shit creek without a paddle right now, man. I'm taking on hell with the squirt gun. I got no brain power when it comes to knowing how to play the game. All I know is I love dominoes because of this guy, Joey Appleseed. In the chat, we play dominoes at his place. But I said, I need dominoes that are they got a little more juice. And I said, what the fuck? Mahjong is right there. It's basically Chinese dominoes. You're just trying to grab some dominoes, trying to slap them down. You're trying to make wins happen by whatever people are doing. I love this game. Cross progression on Steam and mobile. Bowling! I've been trying to touch grass more. A lot more. And I will tell you one game that is cheap as hell to play, is super fun to play, and I think is something people need more of. It's a hobby they do that's lethargic. Not lethargic. Lethargic would be going to a library and sitting there on heroin. No, I'm saying cathartic. Everybody needs a hobby that is not reliant on a television screen. Golf, a sport like tennis, a hobby like swimming, just taking hikes. Obviously, physical activity is a hobby. But I would say the best, most underrated hobby, and I only discovered it this past year, is bowling. In Boston, we have Candlepin, which is the bowling on the left there, which is basically the traditional bowling. This is the bowling before 10 pin became a thing. But Candlepin is exactly what it sounds like. It's candle pins, and it's a smaller ball that's about the size of a bocce ball. So it's basically bocce bowling, if you think about it that way. And it's the same exact thing as regular 10-pin bowling, except you get 3 throws instead of 2, and it's much harder to get those throws to hit because the ball is smaller, so you got to be more accurate. It's not like 10-pin where you can just get a good shot down the middle and you can take out half the rack. But bowling, I started going to a league, and I really, really enjoy it, and I would heavily recommend going out and trying to find an alley because a lot of them died during COVID, and we got to bring this sport back because without it, I think people aren't going to understand just how good a time it is to go bowling. I really do. And I was a hater for years. I just thought for 20 years I thought bowling was lame ever since I was like 10. And then I hit age 30 and I said, actually, let me try this, just because I had a buddy who bought a league. Or he bought a building. He basically bought an alley. And he was a Tekken player, and he kind of stopped playing Tekken, but he took over this bowling alley. So I said, okay, I'll go there for Tekken night, and I'll play a little bowling just to mess around. And I liked it so much, it's just the ultimate PvPvE. Everybody's playing Tarkov, and everybody's playing these stupid games where you got to get on, and you got to be Mr. Tactical, and you got your rifle, and you're trying to loot stuff. Just go to the goddamn bowling alley, put on the shoes, and throw the ball at the pins. I can't think of a single video game that has ever even been remotely as fun as getting a spare or better in bowling. When you hit a spare in candlepin bowling, 10-pin bowling, duck pin bowling, whatever the fuck you hit, the feeling of getting a spare or better, or a strike, God forbid you hit one of those, you're going to nut down your leg. And your soul is going to feel like you never felt since you were a kid and you were 12 and you were watching your favorite TV show. and something cool happened. Like you're me, you're watching wrestling, and you watch Rey Mysterio win the belt or something. Nothing feels like no video game. Fighting games come close. Fighting games come close because if you sidestep punish something, or if you duck a high and you launch somebody and you do some big ass combo, or you get a win in a tournament, that's up there. That's way up. That's right up there with bowling and getting a strike. But getting a strike in bowling, just like getting a fucking getting a straight or some kind of flush draw in a Texas Hold'em game, the feeling of getting that strike and the audio visual cue of the pins going down and then you turning around to whoever else is playing with you and going, oh, that's it. Nothing else comes close. Fighting games, okay, nothing else comes close. Fighting games or a really hot poker table come close. That's it. Bowling is, and by fighting games, I mean you're in tournament and you do some sick shit to kick somebody's ass. And you get up and you're slapping 5 and you're fucking going, yeah, he's free as fuck. Look, did you see that motherfucker? He didn't parry any of those lows. When you're losing your mind, that's bowling. And bowling is every week you're just looking for that really good frame or two. You get a couple strikes and you're just, oh my God, I'm nutting. I am nutting all over this goddamn alleyway. And it doesn't cost you much. It doesn't cost you much. You just got to find an alley, hopefully. I went to a 10-pin alley that was expensive, and I go to a league that is very fair. It's $15 a session, and that's 3 hours of a league. And I could stay beyond that, and we could play Tekken because he also hosts Tekken and fighting games there. I'm having such a good time. I had to bring it to a video about the best video games. Go bowling. Go touch grass. Go find a bowling alley. Go find the closest bowling alley you got. You don't got a bowling alley? Let's look up how to make some DIY lanes. I want to learn how to make a lane and put it in my backyard, and then I'm going to do bowling alley in my lane in a shed. I don't give a shit. Love bowling.